What up guys, today we are using the newly buffed NEO-VOLKITE pistol, and I am using it with the assault class, and I am pairing it with the power fist. I'm basically going to go for some gun strikes, some, charge attacks. Obviously I will be using the NEO-VOLKITE pistol to take out some enemies because I am supporting it with some extra damage here, as you can see, and I am very excited to try out the buff because the NEO-VOLKITE pistol for me was one of the first weapons that I brought into higher difficulties when I was leveling up my bulwark. I was pairing it with the power sword. So I'm actually kind of excited to bring it out with this class because the NEO-VOLKITE pistol for assault kind of can help out deal with like zoanthropes and such. And not to mention the gun strike damage is pretty good. It's kind of weird though because it's the NEO-VOLKITE, it should build up, right? But it does not. You kind of just get a sharp damage. You just get sharp damage from the gun strike there, and the NEO-VOLKITE pistol does not, unfortunately, it does not build up with the gun strikes. So, just wanted to reiterate that there's not really anything too special about the gun strikes with the NEO-VOLKITE pistol, but I just wanted to make sure I had parry with the power fist here. I was pretty confident that the slams were going to do a lot of damage, but I really wanted to obviously test out the buffed NEO-VOLKITE pistol, so I didn't want my melee damage to completely, carry me here. However, as you can see, the power fist is still a great weapon. That charge attack is very, very nice. And I think the NEO-VOLKITE pistol is actually kind of a good weapon to pair with the power fist because of the power fist capabilities to get out a lot of damage in a very quick time, whereas the NEO-VOLKITE pistol kind of takes a little bit to build up. However, the NEO-VOLKITE pistol obviously has pretty good range, and here I'm getting pretty cornered by majors. I get the parry right there. I do have duelist, and duelist is definitely going to help me, line up those gun strikes. And here's another charge attack, but I have to get unfortunately I have to get the parry there. I'm trying my best to build up some, NEO-VOLKITE. I'm trying to build up the NEO-VOLKITE and try to explode the status effect it does. I'm not too sure what the status effect is called for the NEO-VOLKITE, actually, now that I think about it. It's been a long time since I used this weapon, so most of the time I was trying to obviously just use it in a way to build up the element effect and, get the explosion. And luckily here, I'm able to turn around and see my teammate who was getting grabbed. That was definitely a dangerous situation. And unfortunately, we're not going to see the last of getting grabbed by Raveners, which is, very, very bad to happen when it comes to higher difficulties, because if you get grabbed by a Ravener, you are going to go to low health if your teammates do not respond, or if they don't see it. But I wasn't too worried about it as long as I was able to parry, because, right here I'm trying to get some build up on the NEO-VOLKITE pistol. I definitely seen that attack coming. I did not see that coming. At the very last moment, I do try to dodge backwards, unfortunately. I did not know there was a second Ravener. And I lose a lot of health right there. And the NEO-VOLKITE pistol is not the best, the best weapon to get your contested health back. And unfortunately, my teammates did not see that I was grabbed, which is, that never seems to be the case for me. I always get grabbed, and it's always like the worst possible time for it. However, I still have a way to redeem myself here because I did get a stim. We do have a zoanthrope spawn here, so obviously this is a good showcase of the NEO-VOLKITE pistol and to see what it can really get done. However, without any armor, I could just use a stim here, but I knew that the bulwark had icon. So I was really hoping the bulwark was going to use icon in this moment specifically. And I was just a little bit, basically I was just outside of the timing of using my stim there. I maybe could have been a little bit more careful or maybe a little bit more patient, but I think I would have went down. And unfortunately, yes, I do use that stim and then go right down to lethal health here. And now I'm the last brother standing. Yes, this operation definitely started pretty rough. I got grabbed by a Ravener. Now I am the last brother standing against zoanthropes with a melee class. However, the NEO-VOLKITE pistol is still a really good weapon for this moment. I would say it takes maybe like 2 explosions or something like that to take out a zoanthrope. It's maybe more. It really depends on how much chip damage the zoanthrope ends up getting in the fight. but I think the build-up is reasonable. As far as the damage you can actually get from the build-up, I think the build-up is actually doing a good amount of damage. It's just, in higher difficulties, you really need fast damage, so you might not have the time to actually aim in on an enemy and focus on it for too long before you get that explosion. So I'm definitely a little bit interested to see if they end up further buffing the NEO-VOLKITE pistol. Not that I think it's, like, necessary or anything. I think it's actually, you know, as far as the way it functions, it's always going to be one of those weapons that are a little bit underutilized in higher difficulties. But still, I do think the build-up does do good damage. I think there's probably a build out there for this weapon. Maybe, you know, maybe the assault class can find a way to use ample ammunition with it, maybe something like that. You know, I will say the gun strikes aren't useless. That was a pretty good showcase of the NEO-VOLKITE pistol. Oh, also, I believe the NEO-VOLKITE pistol is pretty good at stunning biovores and basically just stuns in general. I wonder how the stun capability is compared to the, you know, the Inferno pistol, because the Inferno pistol has some pretty good stun capability as well. Oh man, I was very close to getting sniped there. Going for the slam here is really good because you can clear out some gaunts, and then obviously just use the NEO-VOLKITE pistol to focus on the ranged target. But yeah, there's still some gaunts there, and it was kind of hard to navigate through that. I really risked a charge attack there because I was almost sniped, and luckily we're able to take out that enraged major. And there's an Extrema spawn. I get the perfect dodge. I get the gun strike. It is scanned. So I do end up going for the slam here. Unfortunately, we just took out. We really did just take out that Lictor in very, very fast time. I think as a team right here, we have what? Tactical, Bulwark, Assault. It's kind of a good team overall. I think there's a lot of versatility with this team. Unfortunately, you know, I don't think I got hit by Invigorating Icon too much. Maybe they hit me once or something. But yes, that unfortunate shot right there, that was heartbreaking. Poor Bulwark really was just kind of looking around and noticed that, you know, the tactical was kind of shooting at something and unfortunately gets sniped down. And now we kind of have a funny moment here where we're just kind of using the worst weapons. No, I don't think the NEO-VOLKITE pistol is that bad in this situation, but I don't have a scope, so it's kind of like, it's kind of awkward. But yes, this hallway is a hallway to be very careful with in higher difficulties. There I am getting sniped, and luckily I'm able to get some contested health back. I wasn't able to get all of it, but still, you know what, the slam is pretty good. I still think these slams should really get your full contested health back if possible. I guess it really depends on the damage. Maybe if I had more damage on that slam, I would have filled more contested health, because yes, we are going with a parrying. I'm genuinely, like, I'm kind of forgetting if it was balance or fencing. I'm pretty sure it's a balanced Power Fist. I've been using Power Fist quite a bit recently, so it's not like something I really wanted to showcase for this video, is how good the Power Fist is. I'm pretty sure everyone's on the same page with how good the Power Fist is. I like some of, you know, obviously the charge attacks for Assault is really good. Assault has some really good charge attacks for, you know, the Power Fist. So mainly the damage I'm getting from my melee weapon here does come from the fact that I do have a lot of melee perks on my build right now. And see, right there, charge attack, get an execution. The Power Fist really was one of the, like, best weapons to pair with the NEO-VOLKITE pistol here, just because I'm able to, one, get these parries, but that's more about the melee mode, or the melee type. But yeah, that was, oh man, the double parry right there. I get the catch, I go for the slam because everything's scanned here. So, luckily I do get the execution. There was a lot of moments in this operation where I needed to play pretty clutch. So, as far as the way it started pretty sloppy, but as the operation went on, I felt very, very comfortable with this build. And yes, as the Power Fist really does put out a lot of damage when you charge. The Assault class takes a lot of advantage of the charge attacks of the Power Fist. And considering the Power Fist capabilities of getting that burst damage, I do think it's a great weapon to pair with the NEO-VOLKITE, because the NEO-VOLKITE's just a little bit slower to get that DPS out of. However, I will admit, the best case scenario with the NEO-VOLKITE is in a moment like this. A Terminus enemy that is scanned, and as you can see with the damage, we are getting some pretty good melting damage there. But I go for the Power Fist Slam here just to get a little bit more damage on the board. The NEO-VOLKITE pistol's capability to take out Terminus enemies is definitely probably its specialty. If you want to use the NEO-VOLKITE pistol, you kind of want to use it against a target that has a lot of health, because I just think it does a great job at dealing, it does a great job at scaling to enemies that are a little bit tougher than like Gaunts or like even Majors. As long as you are able to, keep the NEO-VOLKITE on the Major, you're going to deal some good damage. But for whatever reason, I just think the Majors are a little bit faster to attack you, so maybe there's less moments to get that build-up. There, I'm checking my teammate to make sure that they're able to, pick up the Bulwark there. But as you can see on the card, the Tactical does take some damage and then heals himself. So, little sketchy a little sketchy of a situation here. We're kind of split up, but luckily I am getting a lot of good dodges and parries. Honestly, just looking for the gun strikes with the Assault, even though I'm not even buffing my gun strikes really. It's kind of interesting to see how, active the Assault can get in these fights when it comes to giant Terminus melee enemies. The Assault really can get a lot of advantage from perfect dodging, but you really want to perfect dodge with the jetpack. Honestly, just in general, I guess, if you're getting perfect dodges like this and getting gun strikes, the Assault class does have the non-lethal gun strike. When you get a non-lethal gun strike, you get armor back. That perk for Assault is one of the best gun strikes perks. It's honestly one of the best perks for Assault to keep them, alive essentially. See, right here, I'd be getting a lot of armor in this fight because I'm getting some really good perfect dodges. A lot of the damage from the NEO-VOLKITE right now does come from the fact that I am using it for gun strikes. And there I am throwing a grenade to take advantage of the scan. And overall, I think the buff for the NEO-VOLKITE pistol is good. But just the main, elements of the weapon, the fact that it needs to charge up to the damage that you want to get, kind of just puts it at a slower pace. Like, I don't know if I could really think of a moment that I would rather have the NEO-VOLKITE pistol than the heavy bolt pistol besides, going against a Terminus enemy. I mean, even here, I think I would be getting more damage from the heavy bolt pistol for those gun strikes, so, potentially I would be matching up the DPS the same way anyway for the Terminus enemy. But, you know what, still, I think the NEO-VOLKITE's a very fun weapon, and it was like the first weapon I was using in higher difficulties with Bulwark. It was before Absolute, though. It was during Lethal. And overall, like I said, the NEO-VOLKITE pistol just has, a slow damage buildup. So ultimately, I think the weapon could use another buff. Maybe just buff some of the perks it has. You don't really have to break the damage on the weapon. Just, make it a little bit more convenient to use. I think that will go a long way with the weapon. I love how we watched the Hive Tyrant go down there. I haven't watched that full cutscene in so long, and honestly, the Hive Tyrant's such a threatening enemy. It's literally fighting with a huge, bar coming out of it. It's kind of, it's so wild. I am definitely curious to see if we ever get, a Hive Tyrant fight that feels like it's a full power Hive Tyrant. That would be kind of like a cool, unique enemy in the Horde mode or something, right? But yes, here we go with the stats. Melee damage, obviously going to be the showcase for the Assault, but ultimately, the range damage here is pretty good. I do get close to 8,000 range damage, so I do actually get more range damage than melee. I get a couple reses there, but yeah, those were some, that was a pretty good showcase for the NEO-VOLKITE pistol. As you can see, I was able to get some damage, and we are leveling up this class.